So just staying alive during that period felt like an accomplishment for us, because it's just a maths. 2 adults, 3 kids, no hiding place.
So when I come here and like, oh, this stuff happened, and I see my mom crying every time like she comes and see me, for me that's like the gratitude for everything that happened, and now I achieved this. Is the word is perfect.
For me, I am the captain of the team, so I think that gives it even more, like a bigger importance to actually be your true self. Because if you try to act like someone else when you're the captain or you're meant to be a leader, everyone in your team can see it.
I think the way that they dealt with me and the way that we dealt with it with the coaches after, it was really important for me. Like, it was really pivotal for me, because they just gave it to me harsh, like they gave it to me true, but then at the same time they said, this is how we can improve and this is how we can go forward. And I think that helped me push on so much towards the end of the season, and it ended up giving me confidence, even though at the time I was so low. So I think that was really, really important for me.
Nice. Hello guys.
So I start. Okay, like that. Okay, so this one's about positive emotion and engagement. Part of positive emotion is keeping physically healthy with good nutrition, good rest and good sleep. What choices do you make and what things do you do to stay healthy? And what could you improve?
Yeah, I've actually noticed as I've grown older how much I appreciate having a healthy lifestyle and an active lifestyle. So when I was younger, I loved sleeping in and maybe eating stuff that wasn't the best for me, but as I grew older, became professional, I started feeling changes in my body by just having good routines. And when your body feels good, I think your mindset also feels good, your mind feels good. So it was mainly just having routines, trying to, of course, have cheat days and enjoy myself, but maybe limit them to once a week when I'm really allowed to do it, and have quite strict routines in between. And at the moment, I feel like that's really helping me to just feel at ease in my mind and also take care of my body. Okay, so this question, it says, mental health is not a choice, it is a result of influences, experiences, relationships, skills and choices. So who is someone that positively influences your mental health?
I think my mother. My mother, because we speak a lot and we have a really close relationship, and so many times I put myself in that position that you just said, like putting pressure on myself, and so many times she was like, sometimes just relax, it's just how it's supposed to be and you deal with it afterwards. So I think my mom is a really good influence for my mental health.
That's nice.
That reminds me of my mother, just because she doesn't know too much about football. And I come home and I'm stressed about it. She's just that calming voice and she just tells you relax and then everything's good.
Yeah, my mom is different. She knows about football.
Oh, she knows.
Sometimes she's hey, you need to do better there.
Oh.
What's an example of a good conversation that you have had in your football career? What made it effective?
I think a good example was I was injured last season for quite a long time, like 5 months. And I came back and I went straight in. Like, I was pushing the coach because I was feeling good in training. I was pushing him like, let me play. And I went into a youth league game, knockout game, and it didn't go well. I made a big mistake in the game and we ended up losing. And I think the way that they dealt with me and the way that we dealt with it with the coaches after, it was really important for me. Like, it was really pivotal for me, because they just gave it to me harsh, like they gave it to me true, but then at the same time they said, this is how we can improve and this is how we can go forward. And I think that helped me push on so much towards the end of the season, and it ended up giving me confidence, even though at the time I was so low. So I think that was really, really important for me.
Nice.
Yeah. So we get a sense of accomplishment when we have achieved something worthwhile. This means we have used skill and determination to achieve something that is valued. What is an accomplishment that you are proud of, and how did you use skill and determination to achieve it?
Oof. That's a good question.
I've not made it easy.
Yeah, you haven't.
Well done.
You picked the long one.
Well, me and my wife, we had twins when I was 40 years old in a foreign country with no help. And we'd already had one child, so this was our second and third child. So just staying alive during that period felt like an accomplishment for us, because it's just a maths. You know, 2 adults, 3 kids, no hiding place. So I think that even in that there's an element of skill in terms of making sure you communicate well to be able to deal with all the problems that are coming your way, and it's a real, every day is really different. And yeah, and you need determination because you're sleep deprived. It's a challenge. You've got all the pressures of everything else in life in terms of work and other family, but then you've still got to deal with these 2 newborns at a time where maybe my energy levels weren't there. I'm not a 20-year-old at 40. You know? So I think that was a time when I can think about using skill and determination, something that was worthwhile, obviously, and very valuable. What is the difference between confidence and commitment, and which one do you use? Difference between confidence and commitment.
For me, I think you can always control your commitment. So for me, commitment is more controllable, and I think confidence is a result of something you do. So maybe other people think differently, but for me, I can't really control my confidence in that way, but I can always control my commitment, always control I do all the right things leading up to a game, which will give me confidence going into the game. So I think for me, like, my commitment is probably the one thing that got me to this point where I am. I've never been a big talent or like technical or good like that, but I've been really, really committed, and I've really, really wanted this. So I think that has always given me confidence, because I know I've done everything possible to prepare myself for any scenarios.
I was going to say, is your level of commitment giving you confidence?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's see which one. All right.
You're gonna make both anyway.
we stay true, but we stay on the confidence theme. So, how do you personally manage your confidence?
I actually work on the mental part with a psychologist, you know, and with meditation and all this stuff. And I think the commitment helps a lot. And then on top of that, with the work I do, on believing myself, on what I've done to get here, and then that gives me the confidence to believe in what I do, to believe in myself, and then I know I'll give my best all the time, because we prepare ourselves for that. And then with all the exercise I do mentally, I just believe, and I can visualize what I want to do in that game and everything, and then that's like how I try to work my confidence to do my best.
Yeah.
What's the difference between fear and danger?
Between fear and danger?
It's philosophical.
Wow.
Sorry.
Throw me under the bus a bit there. I think fear comes more, I can speak for myself, I don't know.
Yeah, of course.
Only I can speak for myself. Maybe fear comes more from failure, or thinking that I might not succeed at doing something, whereas like danger is like imminent danger, something that could actually harm me. I feel like fear's almost always more in your head, and you can, I don't know, you can use techniques like you use the meditation, or just taking a second to yourself to try and get around it. But sometimes you'd rather have that physical danger than the fear of like your own brain eating itself up.
Things are more fearful in our imagination than reality. You know, we always think things are going to be worse than they actually are.
Yeah, you like build it up, and then it's worse than it is, and then it actually comes in like, oh, it wasn't too bad.
Fear is a bit, I suppose, going into the unknown a bit, and so you don't know how it's gonna go. So you're a bit, not, I suppose, more than worried, aren't you? You're fearful. You're fearful of been damaged in some way,
Yeah.
I guess. So fear, I don't know, moving from England to Sweden, going into the unknown, there was a bit of fear there because you think, well, things could go wrong, and you're worried about your family, and you know, so there's that. There wasn't danger. We're not going into a war zone or anything, but there was a fearful feeling. There's also other feelings as well, excitement and things, but there was an element of fear, I think. Whereas danger, I guess, is when you actually feel that you're going to be in harm. I never felt that.
I've got a shorter one for you this time.
Speaking too much.
10 positive emotions are amusement or interest, inspiration, joy, gratitude, pride, hope, serenity, and love. Describe a moment when you get one of these.
Well, I think it's when you've done something that means something to you, and you've probably had to struggle for it, and yeah, it's been something that you've had to really commit a lot of energy to, and then when you actually achieve what you wanted to do, there's a feeling of, I would say, gratitude, definitely. Gratitude more than anything else, because you know, we're really fortunate, aren't we? You know, we get these, as much as there's pressures and there's tests and all that stuff, it's an amazing experience. It's an amazing thing that you can do all the time, and when it's not that it goes right all the time, often it doesn't, and just to be able to keep going, and then when you actually experience something that is positive, just to feel really grateful to have that opportunity to have that experience, because it's a test. It's life. Life is not easy.
Yeah. Is it almost like the lows and the problems you have make the highs feel better? Something like that.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, like, we live in a society sometimes where people talk about happiness, and of course we all want to be happy, but happiness is probably doing something that is meaningful, that has got a purpose. And then if you do that, then you know it's not going to be, oh, everything's going to be great.
Yeah.
You know, if you speak through your career, there'll be times where things have gone really bad, and you've had to deal with it, and you've had to come through. And when you look back on your life, you look back on your career, you'll just be grateful, I'm guessing.
Yeah, very grateful, because everyone has a history, you know, and everyone suffered, had to sacrifice so many things. And I had to leave Brazil, my family at 15, so when I come here and all this stuff happen, and I see my mom crying every time she comes and see me, for me that's the gratitude for everything that happened, and now I achieved this, is the word is perfect.
A source of meaning is being true to yourself. On the pitch, what do you do to be true to your identity and values? Sorry, that's
deep. No, but that is something, being true to myself is one of my core values, and it's extremely, extremely important for me. So for me, I am the captain of the team, so I think that gives it even more, a bigger importance to actually be your true self. Because if you try to act like someone else when you're the captain or you're meant to be a leader, everyone in your team can see it, and your credibility just goes. So I try to just be myself as much as I possibly can, and in that sense, it's what my dad has always taught me. He always told me to treat other people the way that you wish to be treated yourself. I think that is a very simple saying, but if you have that in everything, I think then you're truly true to yourself, because then you treat other people the way you wish to be treated. You wouldn't want to be disrespected yourself, so why should you disrespect anyone else, for example? But it is, on the pitch, I think it's tough, because there's things happening all the time, a bad referee, a tackle, stuff that are, your emotions are I think it's almost easier to being true to myself off the pitch, because there's less of this crucial moments happening where your emotions are that high, I think. So it's something I try and work on. Even the other day in training, I felt like I kind of lost it emotionally, and then I have to reflect on it after and think, why did I do that? That's not okay, that's not good. And then I try to work with myself all the time to not end up in that position again. So it's not easy to be true to myself, but it's it's very, very important, I think.
How do you personally manage your focus? Which teammate has good focus?
How do I personally manage my focus? I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier when you were talking about your controllables. I think that before a game I just try to control what I can, so I try to sleep good. I try to not have too many distractions. Maybe in the change room sometimes I put the headphones on, even if there's music on the speaker, so I can get into my own zone. And then for someone that has good focus, maybe I talk about Teddy Sharman-Lowe. He's a goalie. I always admire the goalkeepers because, like me, even as a centre-back, I can make a mistake and I can get punished. But him, he's right in front of the goal, and he rarely, if ever, makes errors. And I think I always try to talk to him about what he does or try to see what he does because his focus is amazing, yeah.
Nice.
What does a team have to do to keep its standards high? We'll just go with that first.
Okay.
Yeah, what does a team have to do?
Oof, good question. I always think it's about culture and environment, and then it's, of course, the people within the team, but from a culture and environment perspective, how do you act? How do you consistently act? How do you deal with adversity? How do you deal with setbacks? How do you deal with success? How do you set the next goal? Because we play a game ultimately, and by definition you can win or lose, and you can't necessarily control it as much as we would like to control it. You can't control it as much as we would like. So how do you maintain the standards even though maybe results are good or bad, independent of results? So I think it boils down to the people there, having respect for each other, communicating honestly. I think giving people feedback, this is good because, this is bad because, or this is not good because, people want to feel like they're improving. So if you can create an environment where people they feel part of it to start with, and then if they can feel that they can improve within the environment, that they're getting better, because ultimately everybody wants that. Everybody wants to keep moving forward, I think. Yeah. So I would say those mechanisms to help you keep the standards high is how I would think about that question in a very short time to think about it.
Have those cultures or those methods that you've used always been the same, or have you kind of changed as you've gone along in your career?
Well, I think the context is always different, the environment, so it'd be wrong for me to do what I did in Sweden and pick it up and do it in Swansea and then pick it up because there's a completely different set of people and you have to respect, I think, that. But the fundamentals I'd like to think are the same. I think if you can provide an environment where, we're a team, so you want to feel part of the team. You want to feel like somebody's going to look after you, somebody's going to take care of you, because that's the whole point fundamentally why we play football. That's why we're not playing an individual sport. We want to be connected with other people. So I think that's always there. And then, like I said, I think people want to, especially in a high performance environment, they need to feel that you're going forward. You don't want to feel that you're stopping still. You don't want to feel that you're back. You need to try and help people improve.